All right, I think we are live now. Hey everybody, welcome to Sweetcast. We've got a full house with some of the best people in comics. Actually, all three of you are professional artists, professional comic creators.
Yeah,
That's
or
pretty cool.
monkeys.
That's accurate.
Or monkeys. Sometimes I feel like a monkey. Often,
Yeah.
actually. Professional. Yeah.
Professional. So this is Elliot Fernandez, also known as Jerkmonger.
Yeah. The
That's right.
invincible jerkmonger. Just kidding. Nobody calls me that. Just me.
Great to have you on. And then Eric Weathers, he's a returning champion, we'll say.
I can feel your anger.
Nice.
I know, like, you have a lot of impressions in you. I'm sure. I can tell.
Probably not as many as the other two on my left. Is it left or right, or am I in the middle? I don't know.
I think you're in the middle, in between us.
Yeah, I see. I'm on your right.
Here I am.
Yeah, it's an Eric sandwich. Hey, we almost made a song for you earlier, by the way.
Huh?
Oh yeah, we came up with your theme song for your anything that you put online.
Okay.
It was like, are you going to hear it?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Eric Weathers.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I wrote it myself.
Yeah.
Simple to the point.
I hope you can get some royalties off of that.
Yeah, well,
every time you sing it, you owe him $1.50.
Yeah.
I'll give you a silver dollar
Oh, yeah.
and a $50.
Wow.
No, before we get too far, I have to introduce our final guest, which is Michael Caine. Welcome, Michael Caine.
Hello, everyone. It's so good. It's nice to be here. I'm in the guise of a giant robot. So nice. So roomy in here.
I love when you do that.
My goal in life, everything I do online is just to make Elliot laugh.
I like that.
So far, so good.
So, pretty good laugh too.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It's
Man. Okay, well, we have a lot of stuff going on, and most of it is with you guys, crowdfunding. And I guess it really is the topic, because Ryan Stegman was online. Some of you may have said this, but he was asking about crowdfunding. And he was just wondering to know if people got their books. And so I thought that was a good opportunity to speculate wildly about the future of crowdfunding and more pros getting in. Right now, you guys are, I'm trying to think of how many strictly full-time professionals are in doing crowdfunding in this indie network. We're three of them.
Yeah, three of them.
Definitely three of them. I don't understand was his speculation about, are people getting their books?
No. Are there going to be more? I am curious if more professionals are going to be coming in and doing crowdfunding campaigns.
I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what I would think too.
Yeah, I mean, just from a monetary standpoint, you can very quickly, if you're even moderately successful, make more money doing that than a company paying you like a maybe not a Marvel or DC rate, but IDW, Dynamite, anything else. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't you? And even if you're making a Marvel rate, you would own the product, the IP. Why would you not do this?
Yeah. It's long-term success too. Yeah, intellectual property, and you're setting your own schedule. You're picking what you want to do your story on, what you're going to be spending all your time on, and then you carry your audience with you. You know, if you do decide to go, I don't know, anywhere, if you do, no matter what you decide to do, there's going to be some number of fans that want to follow you.
Yeah.
Right.
We hope that's the case, at least.
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of, by hope, we mean that's what we're planning. That's the structure, the platform we've been building. I mean, if you think about it, I don't know. Other people have tried doing this sort of thing, I think, in the past. I think I remember even like guys like John Byrne have done stuff at other companies, right? But I wonder if a John Byrne decided I was going to do my own book, and I was going to crowdfund it. I bet you a bunch of people would come in and support him to do it. It's just that the structure, the format has been up to this point. You've got to be at some company. You've got to have it at some publisher. Otherwise, it won't get out there. And that's probably true for the most part before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here we are, and maybe this is because a lot of us who don't have that kind of caliber of brand, maybe it's because we've put a lot of energy and time into building up social media networks. And so I have done a lot of work in, say, on Instagram, for example. And a lot of my followers on YouTube have come from Instagram, where I used to do a lot of live streaming, and it was just me talking to them. I didn't always get a lot of the work, but I was accessible. So now it's almost like, well, now we want to support Elliot to do this stuff. And it does seem like this is the way it's going to be because social media isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's for everyone to destroy if they want to. Otherwise it should only work if you're a decent enough person to maintain any kind of virtual relationship like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I was at where was I? A show in Washington. I think it was at Awesome Con. And an artist, I mean, I didn't know him personally, but I knew who he was. He came up and talked to the guy I was sharing a table with. And he was talking about how he'd been doing stuff for DC, and he had like 3 projects going, and he was working like 20-hour days. And he's like, man, and I'm still broke. And he goes, if I'm working like this, maybe, he was talking to my friend. He said, maybe we should, do a book that we just really want to do. And then his next sentence was, I'm sure we could find a publisher to pay us a page rate. I'm like, no. That's not how any of this works. that's like, that's like decade old thinking right there. But again, I don't know that because I don't know his social media. But I know so many artists that are really, really talented that have not taken the time to build up social media, build up a YouTube channel, talk to their readers, potential readers.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, it doesn't work unless you have a big name, like, you're just somebody huge, which that's very, very few of us.
And you know what's funny about this is it's been for pros like you all. I think it's been a really good opportunity, but also for people breaking in to comics and indie comics like me, for example. It's been really interesting because it wasn't like, oh, I have a big name as a writer. I've been writing for years, but it's just so hard to find your route in. But because I just spend so much time doing YouTube videos, suddenly I become more appealing to artists to work with. And then it's like, oh, well, I can actually afford, like, if an artist wants a page rate, I can actually afford to make a better looking book, you know what I mean, without it just being a hobby and all my money's just going to pay for art. So yeah, it's been really interesting. It almost levels the playing field. Yeah, it really is crazy. So the other thing too is crowdfunding. I was thinking about this, and for example, Flying Fortress, you've had the book published for some number of years, right, Eric?
Yeah, self-published. Yeah.
Yeah. So you put a new cover on it, and then you post it out there. There's something fun about crowdfunding, like for the fans. There's something fun and addicting to it.
Yeah.
You back a campaign, you see the number move up, you feel like you're a part of it, and then you want to go back another campaign. And pretty soon, like, it used to be the hard thing was teaching people what it is, like, wait, so I'm paying money, does that mean I have a share in the company? No. You're backing it, you get your reward, you're basically pre-ordering.
Yeah.
Now more and more people are having experience with it and learning it, and I feel like it's making it easier to just reach people because it's not such a strange concept. They get how it works.
Yeah, that's go ahead, Eric.
It's just becoming more pervasive. Like, you can say, generally speaking, now you can say to a layperson, oh, it's on Kickstarter, and more often than not now they know what you're talking about. So when you say Indiegogo, they're like, what's that? But you still have to say, oh, it's kind of like Kickstarter. So I think that crowdfunding model is more because it's way outside of comics. I mean, everything that you can think of has a potential to be crowdfunded, and I just think that it's more in people's minds now. They're more aware of it.
Yeah,
it's such a big deal.
I mean, even gosh, I don't know, I don't know how long. What Kickstarter is? What 10 years old now? I guess this is the 10th year for it.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So I mean, even like 6, 7 years ago, people were doing crowdfunding stuff that I knew pros, and it was always like anthologies, right? Because that's the safe thing to do. You're not. It's a safe. It's safe, but it's also low return. Like you're not going to make a lot of money from it. More things can go wrong, but you got something out there. So a lot of the anthology kind of thing came in, and people kind of got used to Kickstarter. And then it seems like it's really been in the last year that with this whole movement that the fans and the creators have all come on board and said, oh, no, this is a valid pre-order system for independent books. And independent creators are like, holy crap, I can actually make some money in comics for a change and not have to pay Diamond and lose 65% of the cover price for other people. It's just I'm in charge. I'm my own small business. So this is is an exciting time, but it's still kind of the Wild West in one sense, because we're all of a sudden now, instead of just artists using crowdfunding, we're all small businesses, and we're having to shift that mindset. And I think the people that are going to be most successful at it are the people that can be artists / business people. Not just, oh, I'm an artist, I'm going to throw this book out there or whatever. And so no, it's got to be you've got to have a marketing plan, which is for us is be online, just do a YouTube show, whatever. You've got to interact well with people, so that you're your PR guy or girl, so it's definitely the whole package. And that, I think, is the thing a lot of artists don't get yet.
Yeah. Let me look back here real quick. Sierra Whiskey sent in $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Sierra Whiskey. He says, got Flying Fortress. I got Flying Fortress, I'll tell you that.
I got it.
Yeah, I hope you have it. In fact, I want to talk about crowdfunding more for sure and do some wild speculations. But let's look at the campaigns real quick. I better lock it on me. Flying Fortress. This is day one, and you're really just hours into this.
Look at that.
Yeah,
you're already at over 6,000.
10 hours.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, this is really good. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about it. I'll scroll down. You can.
Yeah. So Flying Fortress, for those of you who may not know yet, is a story about a B-17 crew. In 1943, they go on a top secret mission to bomb Hitler, and they are successful in that mission. But as they're turning their plane around to come home, they get shot out of the sky by an experimental enemy fighter, and they end up crash landing in a medieval world. And they have to, once figure out how they got there and, how to get back home. But they uncover this whole thing that's going on. The Nazis are there. So when they first arrive, they're like, hey, we got to watch out for Jerry. But soon they discover a castle and knights and a whole mystery that they have to unravel.
That's cool.
Very cool. Yeah, story sounds really cool. The art. So explain this, that it's remastered. So you've done this story. It's been around, but you relettered it, added a new cover.
Yeah. So I'm calling it the story 8 years in the making. We came up with the idea in about 2010, and the first, I guess, official ash can was put together 2011, and we had it at a convention, just a little 8-page preview, 0 issue. And then over the next 6 years, we put those 8 books together, just as a, you got to do it when you can get it, and, spending a lot of time learning the craft while we were doing it. So the first chapter and the last chapter are wildly different. I mean, if you just look at like those covers there compared to the remastered cover, there's just a lot of growth, and I think that's a lot of fun there. Part of me was like, don't do it. It's older stuff, but it's like, you know what? The story's great. And there are a few things that I want to fix, but nothing major. And, I want to re-letter it because I think, that's what I'm known for now. So I want to make all of that, all that consistent through the book, because it was very inconsistent.
Well, this is good too for people that they want to be an Eric Weathers completist, and this is important. Right. This is like, to learn how to do comics, you have to do comics, and so this is a good like 8 issues that you did of this.
that's true.
And that really, this is, I think, a good foundation for your comics career. So that's good. I mean, and you're going to be around for
Yeah, I
sure.
hope so.
So yeah, all those Eric Weathers completists, this is important for that.
It's an important notch or book on your shelf.
Yeah, you're doing really, really well. And yeah, so the point I wanted to make too is like the book's been out, but crowdfunding it, yes, you remastered it, you crowdfund it. There is something really fun about seeing that the crowdfunding campaigns going up and getting in there and just buying your copy and getting it taken care of and see that number go up. And this is amazing. As opposed to
Thank
just
you.
having it posted up on a website somewhere. This is really great.
Well, just to give you a comparison, we launched volume 1, so it was the first 4 issues, and I think we only had 1 or 2 done before when we kickstarted it. And the idea was to put 4 into 1 volume, which is a tier on the remastered version. That's the Flying Fortress Unmastered. Those are the volumes you can see right there on screen.
Yeah.
We did that Kickstarter in 2012, and we did an Indiegogo at the same time. And we only raised $360 back then on Indiegogo. It was just over 1,000 on Kickstarter. So really, we made $1,300 on the first half of this story back in 2012. So to see this the way it is now, it's good. It feels good.
Yeah, this is great. And this is so we're really looking at 4 campaigns. Lately, I've been forgetting about my own campaign because you kind of get tired of promoting it. So, but yeah, all the links. The Flying Fortress link is in the description. I highly recommend you go back it for sure. And then we've got links
left at the early bird price.
Only one left.
Only one left at the early bird price. The $25 that's the.
I need to refresh. Yeah, I've got to refresh. I'm sure.
Refresh. Okay.
Yeah, so it's probably going to say 0 left when I refresh because somebody's going to
There's one left.
That's a $10 savings. So yeah, let's here I'll refresh it right now. 6,355. That's awesome. Yeah, so one left. Right? Early bird special. Go snag that quick. Fight over it. Let's look at the next one. We're gonna get into topic 2, but Gunship Thunder Punch. This is a really cool one, Brian. This stuck out to me because it's Transformers kind of looking thing.
Yeah.
And like I like Transformers, but I was really into Beast Wars. You ever watch that? Yeah, I love that show. Yeah, tell us a little bit about Gunship Thunder Punch.
Yeah, so well, the Gunship Thunder Punch is a story about Mars and Earth have been at war, and the Martians kidnap Nova Marcos's son, and in order to get him back, she has to procure an outdated, abandoned gunship. But the only one who knows where it is and how to activate it is a criminal serving a life sentence who was the commander of the ship like 30 years before, and so the ship is sentient, and she doesn't know that, but it's not too happy about having been left to rust for 30 years. So yeah, this was there's kind of a long story coming in. The story been rolling around in my head for a long time, but I worked on Transformers doing inks, and I was on GI Joe forever, and IDW knows that I draw, and they would throw me some penciling stuff here and there, but I was kind of like pigeonholed as an inker, and I kept saying, I'm a huge Transformer fan. I want to draw Transformers, and just never could, get the work to draw. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do my own giant robot story and get it out of my system. So this is kind of that. It's like, if you won't give me the work, I'll just make it.
Cool. Yeah, it's something I really like. I really like your art style because it's I don't know. Well, first it's just recognizable as your art style, but the way like you can draw robots really well, but then you can also draw people like human faces really well. And I'll tell you right now, I can't do either very well, but it's really impressive. And so you're doing the colors too.
Yeah, I'm doing the colors, and then I've got Mr. Eric Weathers is doing the letters.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, the colors. I gotta look at this one. I love the colors on these squid jellyfish looking things.
Yeah, little Martian zombies.
Martian zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really like the, I don't know, the texture. People make fun of me. I get caught up on these little things, like how people draw clouds and things.
All right. Yeah.
They always make fun of me, but yeah, little stuff like that. It's just
Yeah, that
cool.
stuff matters. It contributes to the overall feel. So
Yeah, you look at those details, and I don't know. For me, like I can tell the difference between, I don't know, I guess if an artist has been doing it well or paying attention to those kinds of details, and I don't know, I'm easily impressed. So, but this is nothing to be easily impressed. This is something to be, even the shrewdest of comic readers, this is impressive. You're at 18,000, really close to 19,000. I bet you guys, we could push him over to 19,000 tonight for sure and beyond.
Oh,
yeah.
amazing.
I just did the stretch goal. The first stretch goal. I've got a cover coming from Alex Milne, he was probably the most popular Transformers artist on the IDW run, and he's doing a cover for variant cover. And the $20,000 stretch goal is I'm doing a trading card set for every book. So
Oh, cool. 20,000 is an important landmark. It feels like you've reached a certain level of success if you hit 20K.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 30K is another one. I haven't quite been able to get there myself, but yeah, the link to this Indiegogo campaign is in the description. So yeah, if you're checking it out and you want it, don't put it off, because you'll put it off, and then the campaign will be closed and you'll be sad. So yeah, go check it out, go back it, and then come back in and we'll have some fun. And we'll keep an eye on that one as well. So Doom Kicker, this is another one. Elliot,
Boom!
tell us about Doom Kicker.
Doom Kicker is what we labeled it as a supernatural suspense adventure or fantasy. I'm big because I eat too many Twinkies, but I'm also and really enjoy ghost stories and paranormal stories, and just all that sort of stuff. It's weird because I was like a superhero guy forever, and I didn't really pay much attention to monsters. But just like over the last 10-15 years, I kind of started getting into like Lovecraft, and start to really discover the use the higher use of horror and supernatural stories to tell and convey stories about the human experience. So Doom Kicker is about this guy named Hank, who is he's a depressed security guard. He wants to be a sheriff. He thinks he belongs there at the department. He's got the skills, but for whatever reason, he can't seem to pass the weight test, and he can't get the job, and he's pretty depressed about it. And on one of those occasions where he's going in for the job, and he discovers like a weird thing happening at the sheriff's department, and it's a weird conspiracy that's going on that has ties to this other dimensional entity, and he has to figure out how it's tying into his town and what he can do to fix the problem. So it's really an everyman story facing, like I said it in the campaign, it's an everyman story about us facing the dark and the mystery and the unknown and the darkness, and coming out of it on the other side if we can. So he's tasked with the job of either saving his town or saving the world or saving his life, and it's about making choices that we have to make, and sometimes the circumstances are ugly when we have to make those choices. So it's a bit of there's some humor in the story, of course, because Doug TenNapel is the writer of the story. Eric Weathers is lettering.
Oh
Yeah, he's
why are you stealing my letterer?
Because I'd be like,
Well,
jerk.
I don't want to cause any problems, but he was lettering my book first.
Oh my gosh, Eric, what is your deal?
Hey,
I made an understanding.
I made this announcement earlier today, but I'm going to get Eric Weathers to letter Flying Fortress too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
I know.
But yeah, it's definitely an exciting project to work on. Working with Doug has been really exciting and challenging, and he's pushing me to be a better version of myself all the time, and with the way he helps art direct and stuff. But overall, it's been I'm working now on the second phase of it, where I'm tweaking some of the story elements and trying to, as I'm preparing to start developing all the thumbnails for everything. Just a real exciting story. I can't wait to get it done on many levels, but in particular because I want to see it come to life, man. I've never had my own story come out in my hands or any other format. It's pretty exciting.
That's really cool. Here's another like weird I don't know, it's not really a detail. This image right here is really cool because there's a story in this one panel. There's a story. I look at like the wedding photo here, and he's standing up straight, and I think of like optimism and stuff. And then life has been just from what you've said about the story, but his posture's a little different, and I'm sure you did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's just a story to be told in this one panel. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, definitely is it's an exciting way to kind of tell that story about us, the average Joe.
Yeah.
He's even overweight, which is, I don't know what that feels like, but clearly. Oh, you guys laughing? I see. Oh, okay. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
didn't laugh.
I'm laughing.
I know but also we had an interesting time in trying to come up with another way to convey creatures and monsters. So that was another part that I think is going to be fun for the readers, is to just kind of get a good whiff of what is really happening in this world and why you should come to this little town in West Virginia to discover what's really happening.
Yeah. Now, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
This is 96 pages.
Yeah.
So this is a great value. Like you're getting your money's worth here for sure.
Yeah.
And it's starting just for a comic, $25, 96 pages. You cannot complain about that. And outstanding artwork.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Man, you guys, every time I see stuff like this, all three of these campaigns, and I'm like, I need to raise the bar on my own stuff. This is good though. Yeah. It's cool because I heard you guys ever watched Dan Fan's videos at all?
No.
So she did a video today and she talked a little bit about crowdfunding and how I didn't think about it this way before, but when you're trying to get a job, like for a publisher, it feels like you're competing with other people for that job. And so you don't really want to help you. It's like crabs in a bucket almost, when it comes to crowdfunding, I just stopped blocking the screen on me. When it comes to crowdfunding, it's actually to your benefit to help other creators do well, because the network of creators is everything, creators and fans. So the more you guys are sending people to Indiegogo, it helps my campaign too. I get backers every time a new campaign launches. I'll notice some trickle in just because people are in there rooting around,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely is the community that is, I mean, in one way you can say at our disposal, but it's not for our own disposal as it is for we're all sharing. It's infectious. Everyone's trying to create something different and unique, and so we can all kind of borrow from each other, at least our best practices. That's been the best best part of my experience so far, is the access to best practices from everyone. And I know Brian and I talk a lot, and we're always discussing what are some of the things we're doing. How are you doing this? How are you doing that? And then if I get some information from someone else, I just try to kind of fill in the gaps as much as possible, because it's kind of daunting when you first started and you're first getting involved in this. If you've never done it, and I never did, other than the Black and Red book, and even that was done by my business partner. He handled all the details. Getting into this can be kind of weird. You're like, even thinking of things like, what are my perks going to be like, and how should I handle shipping prices, and what should I do about this or about that? And so, having all those details can be very overwhelming. So it's really helpful to connect with a network of people where we can all kind of share and say, hey man, let's just relax. Don't jump off the roof yet. What do you think? How about this? How about that? And I've gotten a lot of ideas from a lot of people that have been super, super helpful. It does feel like a community. And I think that's when, it's funny that word gets thrown around a lot these days, but this is really a community of people who are trying to help each other succeed. Because if we all succeed, or rather, if each of us succeeds, we all succeed.
Yeah.
So
rising tide.
each other. We're not just competing alone against these companies. We're competing together against the bigger companies to offer a better product.
Yeah. I love that. It really great point. And the network is, it really is so important. I wonder 2 days before. So So I've done 2 crowdfunding campaigns. One was tragically very unsuccessful. This was years ago, and then Downcast, and that one's amazing.
Tragically successful.
Tragically successful. Poor me.
It's hard.
Yeah, but it always was. It's so stressful. Like so stressful. I really think it's the most stressful thing I've ever done.
Mhm.
Both times.
Yeah.
It's been so stressful. Do you guys get that? Like usually for me, it's like 2 days before
Yeah.
it really hits, and it's
Yeah, it was it was really stressful for me, and just putting the thing together. I mean, I got to a point where because I mean, I would show the link to like I put together Indiegogo, and I'm working on the thing, and I would show it to like I'd show it to Doug, and I would show it to Elliot, and Doug is just very blunt, and he's like, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Change this. And it's like, and then after a while, you get a little irritated. It's like, no, I think he's right. And so you take his advice, and on some things, and other things are like, no, I'm sticking to my guns on that one. But as it got closer, it was for me, I said this on, I think probably last night on another stream, that I got spoiled because I worked for IDW I was there worked there for 10 years. And for probably 6, 7 of those years, I had a book every month. Like it was just G.I. Joe or Transformers. And it was just like that as a freelancer, that was just part of my business model. I do this book, I sell the art, I do commissions. And then they shifted things up, and work got more and more spotty. And then the crowdfunding thing happened. I'm like, you know what? This is actually a pretty significant shift in my career. It's like, working for comic companies in general, I don't think is a good long-term business plan. Especially the older you get, with younger people coming up who are better than you and maybe faster than you. And, as a 43-year-old dude going up and trying to get work from someone literally half my age, and I was at a con recently talking to some friends. We're kind of all in the same boat. And one of them said, I go up to editors, and there is that feeling you get from them that they're thinking, well, if you're so good, why aren't you bigger now that you're in your middle age, right? And this is talking to the 20-something editor. So it's not going to get easier. So this for me was a very pivotal kind of thing. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to say, look, this one has to succeed, or I don't know really what am I going to do,
Yeah.
And yeah. So so I was really stressed.
Yeah, it is stressful. I just posted the link to Gunship Thunder Punch right now in the chat. By the way, if anybody wants to be a moderator, just let me know and I'll give you a wrench. It always feels like I hand out the wrenches, and then I don't know, it will get to certain nights, and there won't be very many wrenches. So if you want one, let me know. Yeah, this is I don't know, for me. So I have a full-time job. I already have a career, not in comics, but I've wanted to do comics for a really long time, and it just felt like I'm too old. Honestly, that's the way that it felt. I'm 33.
Oh, you lad, you wee lad.
Yeah,
I know, but that's the way that it felt. But
Yeah.
everything changed in October. Everything changed. And to me, it was like, hey, there's a level playing field. If I can figure out YouTube, I can finally get into comics.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like it's actually your work. I mean, you still got to get to know people, but the important people to get to know are other creators and fans, most importantly, comic readers, as opposed to just trying to meet the right person, publisher, right editor, or whatever it might be. So I don't know. It's been really, really cool. I think more people are seeing this. Obviously, like Ryan Stegman too. Let me show you his tweets so you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's get to that.
All right, here we go. Here's Ryan Stegman. This was yesterday, I think. Yeah, the 5th. Yeah, yesterday. He just posted this randomly, and it seemed very like he just wanted to know. He said, "Are people that are supporting Indiegogo comics getting their books? Curious how that's all working out." And all the responses here, you see a lot of people you recognize. Comics Villain, Peter Gilmore, Thor. You're seeing a lot. Look at all those books, recognize all the creators. It's just really cool to see people being so supportive of it and showing stuff, and kind of makes me wonder, Ryan Stegman obviously is thinking about it,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
it seems that way. Hopefully, look, I've briefly met him. He was at a con here, a local con, and we had dinner. And he seems like a nice guy. If he's, I don't know if he's ever like denounced all of us on Twitter or anything, but that'd be a book I'd be interested in if it were.
Yeah.
Because he's an artist up my alley. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Artist Alley. Yeah.
Yeah, artist alley. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be, I don't know, I was thinking about this, like, is it, if there are a ton more pros coming in and putting books in on crowdfunders, does that change anything? Does that saturate the market or anything? But I think what it'll do is it just trains more, again, it just sends more people that way
Yes.
to that crowdfunding project. So I'm kind of excited about the new flood of people. I expect a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the thing. That was it was the readers accepting it as a viable delivery system and
Yeah.
pre-order system for it to work. And in the last year, that's finally happened. And so the more creators that come on, then it's going to be up to the creators to again develop their rapport with their readers.
Mhm.
And that's going to be the better you can do that, the longer you can stick with that, and this is hard for some people. The more positive you can be, the better you will do.
Well, I bring up this example. I've brought up this example before. Like, just having a name doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Rob Liefeld he did a thing for his Brigade book. I think it was Brigade on Indiegogo, and he raised $5,000. Rob Liefeld, $5,000.
Right.
So because he never promoted it, he never did. It was just like, here it is. And I don't know what his expectations were, but you gotta be out there and let people know, hey, this is happening. But not just that. It's like have that presence online, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. Have that
Yeah.
presence online where people can get to know you.
Well, and I think in each of our cases, the neat thing about crowdfunding at this point, and it probably will be true, I guess, forever, is that the first 2 days, that influx, that is the thermometer that you're taking and you're putting into the reader base, right? And you're seeing what the temperature is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get funded and get funded fast, like Eric did and like Elliot did, and Clint, I know yours got funded. How fast did yours get funded? Was it pretty quickly?
Yeah. Day one.
Yeah. So
10 hours. Yeah.
it's like if you have successfully on social media and YouTube and everything connected with an audience, that's the moment that you've realized, you actually have connected with the audience.
Yeah.
If you don't take the time to do that and you're just writing on a name, maybe, but probably not, because it's a different. The thing is, people are not even like, nobody's read our books yet. What they're pre-ordering is they've gotten to know us, and we've entertained them on YouTube, and they've seen our work in other places. So when we bring this project, it's like we've given it some value, and we have some cred because we've already delivered for free entertainment value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that you have to do.
Right.
Yeah. There's it's one of those things, like if you're putting in the work into building your audience, it actually pays off. Again, like getting to know people is great, but it really does have to do with the time that you're putting into it, connecting with people. And that's hard. I get that question a lot. Like, not everyone can do YouTube videos, or I really believe there's other things you can do if you're not focusing your time there. But yeah, I mean, it's hard, especially if you've got a full-time job. I know, like, this is a whole other job to do for sure, making a video every single day. But finding content to talk about and finding your little niche too, it's I don't know, it's so much beyond just writing or doing art. There's a lot to it. I mean, you guys are entertaining people with all the voices that you do and talking about paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that like paranormal, like we just came off that show, and that's part of the whole, like, we love doing it. It just makes we're just making each other laugh. But, we're bringing people along for the ride. And, that even that, when we're talking about doing like just a little, starting off maybe a single issue comic from that, and coming up with taking all what the community has kind of created. And we've all gone back and forth, and we've had all these characters emerge. And it's like, let's just take this and maybe next year do a story. Right. So, everything that you do for free, and everything that you do that is supposedly seems, just frivolous, can lead to something. And if it's entertaining people and making people feel good, I mean, that is a huge part of it. And that's a huge part of what we want the comics to do too. Multiple times I've gotten messages from people that were going through hard times with family stuff or whatever. And they're like, hey, I was listening to you on such and such a show, or Paranormals or Doug Show, whatever. And it helped me just forget what was going on for an hour. And it's like, that's significant. We're just doing this stupid little show and making each other laugh, but somebody out there is, having a hard time, whether with the family or whatever, or illness. And just for an hour, you just make them forget what's going on. And I think that's pretty important.
Well, we talk a lot about competing with mainstream comics, but you're also competing with television and Netflix. And that,
Fortnite.
like, I think, Fortnite, for crying out loud. Yeah, it's I don't watch TV anymore because I'm either making a video or I'm watching somebody else's videos, or listening to a live stream. It really is interesting because it's kind of fleshing out the comics as a hobby. And I talked about this a little bit before, but comics, so like gaming, you can play games with people, presumably, or by yourself, but there's something you're spending a lot of time doing. Comics don't really take that much time to read.
Right.
But everything surrounding it, if you're in even the auctions that happen on Friday nights, or drawn and quartered, or all the live streams, it kind of fills out, and it makes it more of a social thing, to be doing comics. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I think a lot of what some people, when you talk about the competition, it's different because comics in the past were competing with just video games. And that's one of the reasons why it's important, that building that relationship with people. There's something that really happens, like when you hear how people complain about this game company doing this, or that game company doing that, or this animation studio is doing this now, or whatever, movie studios are doing this, whatever. Those things are they're far away from you. You can't touch them because they're producing product and content, and they just throw it out there. And you're just supposed to follow the track and buy it and indulge in it. But what we're doing here is, since part of what you guys have been talking about all along, up till now, has been by developing those relationships with the people. And then by relationship, I mean this is a way that we're relating with our customers, and you're getting to know us. So now you're starting to invest in the people themselves. I remember when I had a mentor when I first went independent from my day job years ago. He said, he goes, get ready, because this is now, you're no longer, your art is no longer your product. You are the product. So you have to really protect that, and protect, it's not just your brand now is what people are investing in. So now let's fast forward to where you were just saying, yeah, there's a lot of competition, but those companies don't have a lot of this kind of connectivity with their audience like we do. I mean, they kind of do. You have, message boards, or people can send questions into, say, like Steam, to complain about something. But the companies try to manipulate the ways you can interact with that so they can get the positive result they want. So is the competition? Yeah, but what we have is this good old-fashioned elbow grease, just mixing it up with the crowd, and giving them an opportunity to have that input in what we're trying to do. Now, I'm not a big fan of creating anything by committee, but at the same time, every once in a while someone says it would be great if you did this, and you're like, man, that's a great idea. And now that person's investing and saying, I feel like I'm part of that. I mean, that's how I feel whenever I've had that's one. So for me, one of the things I talk about with some people is, I used to be a real big fan I used to like going to cons, and I would get like starstruck, like, oh, I'm going to meet such and such, especially like a show like New York Comic Con where all these artists congregate. But over the last few years, I've just been like, they're just people like me, because they've been part of a system that has separated them from the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm connecting with my customer, my business is improving overall, and people are happy to contribute to my success now more than ever. That's something that they can't have. That's uniquely part of our experience as we relate to each other and try to work together on building this product. So I'm super enthusiastic about crowdfunding. I think this is really I've often told people, I said, I think now that we see a lot of the companies kind of hiring other talent from other countries, maybe with less, that have they're easier to pay because their economy is different from ours. I've been saying this for the last at least 5-10 years, that the next dimension for the American creator is to create intellectual properties themselves. If we don't do it, the jobs are going to get harder and harder to get. Brian mentioned earlier how I'm older now. What do you bring to the table? I'm listening to these young guys, and I've been working in corporate America long enough. I know what they're trying to do. I get it. I don't think it's as sinister as sometimes we suspect it is, but I think whatever they're doing is not boding well for the customer, that their core customer. Well, then we can step in and fill in the gap, and maybe not just fill in the gap, but build a bridge to create another, what can comics become? That's something we're doing together with the creators and the fans. That's super exciting.
Yeah, if we're showing them a viable route forward, again, Ryan Stegman's thinking about it.
Yeah,
I've heard Scott Snyder has thought about it for a little while. There's definitely more. Undoubtedly, there's a lot of people seeing the success, and I'm sure man, how would that be? Making your own book and making a living doing it. I mean, it's crazy.
What do you think? What do you think has caused it to sort of come to a head at this point? Because funding's been around for several years, and comics have been crowdfunded for that whole time. Like, why now? Why does it seem like
we've hit a critical mass? I mean, there's enough people going to back comics and having a good experience with it. They're getting their books that they're willing to do it again and again. It feels like
I think too, in the last year, with everything that's been going on, with the big two and book qualities, or that the customer, and it really is, it really is a customer revolution. Because again, crowdfunding's been around. I've done it. I tried to do it early on and failed, and then I succeeded, and then, as many of us have, but it hasn't been until the customer realized, what, I'm not getting what I want from Marvel and DC. Where do I go? And then all of a sudden, with social media, they're connecting with creators who feel that same way. And through a big hot mess, of course, in drama and it's not pretty, but things shifted, and all of a sudden now I think we've just gotten to the point where the customer has said, no, we are going to crowdfunding, because this is where we are getting that feeling of excitement about books again, and connecting in a real way with the creators of those books, really in a way that you couldn't before. You get excited about a book, and you show up on their live stream, and you type in the chat, and that creator reads it. When in the history of comics have you ever had daily access to a creator of projects you're excited about?
That's true.
Never.
Yeah. Technology definitely opened that door.
Yeah, that's true.
Tank Ferret Art, thank you for the super chat. $2 says CG equals meritocracy, consumer based #comics revolution. Yeah, that's the thing, is you are accountable directly to your consumers, and you give them updates. you're in the public eye, you're out there, you're connecting with them. And it also, I think that helps build trust. Crowdfunding, backing a project and never hearing from the creator for months or years, that doesn't make you feel good. when you're hearing from them daily or weekly or something, because you have contact with them, then it I don't know, it builds confidence that you're going to be able to get your stuff. I want to remind everybody real quick, we have 84 people right now. If you could smash like, that would really help me out a lot.
Yes.
And mods, don't be afraid to spam those links. Why don't we check up on your campaigns too while we're at it here? I'll
Sure.
share screens. We might as well do that. Who wants to go first? Eric?
Eric's going to get the biggest bump. Go, Eric.
This always makes me so nervous.
I know.
So you're 130 backers right now. Let's refresh the page and see where we're at.
Oh, look at that.
Hey.
Yeah.
We
Nice
must have
jump.
sold out of the
Let's check.
early bird book.
Did I pass
Yeah,
it?
it looks like it's gone. All 50.
Yeah.
Bam.
Nice. Very good.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for real.
Yeah, it's gonna bump it to the
Thank
bottom.
you.
Huh? And you still have there it is, sold out. Sold out. You've got original art here too, including that fantastic
pages.
cover right here. Tell you guys, some of this again. This is another thing is that you can actually get original art. I love that that's part of it, because I've gone through moments where I'm trying to find original art from, like, I'm a huge Ninja Turtle fan, and it's like really hard to find. It's like just not, like, especially the exact pages you want and all that. You can actually get it here. Okay, Gunship Thunder Punch. Drum roll.
It's not going to change. I'm in the grind, man. I'm in the second week.
You're
grind.
in the middle.
Uh-oh.
It's so close, guys. This is like 1 or 2 backers away.
Yeah.
From
Actually, today has been a really good day. I've had a lot of new backers come in. I'm not exactly sure why. I've done a ton of live streams this week, so I'm sure that helped. But today has actually been pretty good.
I'm telling you, I think it's Eric launching a new campaign. You get more residual, like people bounce over. That's something I've noticed anyway.
Yeah.
Doom Kicker. Let's see. Let's refresh this. 347 backers and 348.
Brian comes in last.
Oh, but the night is young.
Oh, it's true. This is true.
Let's see. People are nominating other people for wrenches. Sierra Whiskey, you want a wrench? I'm going to give you one just for kicks. If you don't want it, you can let me know. But now,
even if he doesn't want it, give it to him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Burden him with that responsibility.
We will force it.
Yes. I will make it legal.
I tell you what, it is super energizing too when you get that little bump.
Yeah.
That little dopamine hit.
I know.
I was at the gym earlier today, and before I left, I wrote a little note on what the number was at, and I was like, I'm not going to look while I'm at the gym. I'm not going to look while I'm at the gym. And then I got a DM from somebody that were like, dude, 6,000. I'm like, I was excited. Obviously, I was like, man, I wanted to come home to that. But it got me through a few more reps on leg day. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched your face a little bit when you were on the stream with Doug TenNaples. I was at work. I caught a little bit of it, but I remember the feeling live streaming once it just launched. And for me, it was like adrenaline rush constantly. And I'm trying to act casual, but the whole time it's like, what is going on? 1,000, that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. 2,000, and people would chatter. It's going up, and just watching your face, it's always fun.
Yeah.
He said a little smirk under his beard, like try not to laugh real well. Yeah. I'm so cool and calm, chilling.
I'm cool.
No, it's super cool. I think also sometimes when you get past the first couple of days and you start to grind it, what's really fun is it's exciting because that number may be higher than and other people are like, wow, that's great, but you've been seeing that number for a day or two. It's that little bump, like, people still love me.
Yeah. I think that's that $25 more. You're like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay, woo! Woo! I can breathe again. I can breathe again.
You know, the end will come the last day, and that's a rush too. Because I remember for me it was like, oh, is this gonna be as good as I think it's gonna be, or is it gonna be terrible? You know, and you start trying to guess what it's gonna end up at, but then yeah, you get the bump at the end, and it feels good.
I tell you, for me, I'm a little frustrated because I've been in that YouTube jail situation now for a couple of months,
Oh yeah,
and so I have no real way. I'm creating some advertising things I'm going to include in my daily videos. Um, which, by the way, I have been doing daily videos because I've been so caught up with so much of this that I can't. Usually, I'm like, oh, okay, I drive my kids to school. Like, I got a new idea about something. I should talk about that with my friends. Not lately, I've been like, what friends? I'm in a dungeon here working on this. um, but that's really a part. I'll tell you what, keep your channels clean. Keep that avenue open so that you can talk. I don't know what it was that happened. I'm sure I did something stupid. I just wish they would tell me. But it's a drag, man. I don't have that access to just keep pumping that out with live shows and things like that. But I've been, again, going back to that community thing. I've been so blessed. So many people are sharing their audiences with me, like you're doing tonight, Clint. Just I really appreciate it, guys, because it's a
my
challenge.
pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, and it's so true. You have to build up that audience to a degree. You got to work on it, but it's really so that you can have access to communicate your idea. And if in this case your idea is a product, then all the more reason to keep it open and available for your customers in that case.
Yeah, absolutely. And YouTube is I kind of hate it because it's so good. Like
Mm.
it's been such a good tool just to get to know people and network and promote and everything. It's been great. But then it's just like in your situation, just like that, they can take it away. Something changes, and I am kind of a nerd about the algorithm and everything, and I watch really really closely. And I noticed like I'll get videos demonetized because it's just the title basically of your video.
Mm.
But I have no idea why they would shut down your whole channel. That's rough. I will tell you though, YouTube does respond if you tweet at them publicly. I did everything I needed to do to get monetized. They would not approve me for being monetized, and so I tweeted at them and complained, and they said take a screenshot of this page, tell us what's there, because they thought they were gonna show me that I hadn't applied correctly or something. So I showed them I did, and it said it was under review, and it had been under review for months.
Oh.
And 2 days later, I'm approved for monetization. So
It's called public shaming.
Yep.
That's what that is.
it works.
Well, on the 24th, I'm hoping that everyone will join me on a gigantic public shaming, free jerkmonger.
Yeah.
Free
Yeah.
jerk, your hashtag free jerkmonger.
Well, I've heard some stories that some people after a copyright strike don't get out of on the date that they're supposed to get out. It still lingers for a while because of the same reason. I'm just another. I'll tell you, that's another big thing that I learned from my mentor. He said that it's really important not just to build up your social network platforms, but also to build up your own platform. I really recommend that people these should be satellites, and your mothership should be your homepage, a web page. Keep something going where you can keep using it, because you just don't know. Things are changing so much in our culture. I could just say flower today and it could make everybody angry.
Whoa, what did you just say?
Oh my gosh, I'm
What?
out. Paranormals is done.
Oh no. I'm so sorry.
I didn't realize you were such a speciesist.
Yeah, I know. Vegetationist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the type of thing you got to be prepared. To your point, I love this right here. This is great, but what if something went wrong? Just got to be prepared for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you do. 'Cause I got a question for you while we're wildly speculating. So it's no surprise. I would much rather be I'd much rather be making comics for a living. How do you guys do it? How do you be full-time comic creators? What does it take? You guys are like, you're hopeless.
Go ahead, Elliot.
Well, I myself am not doing as well doing this stuff. I've been managing to keep it going for the last few years. I went independent 3 years ago. It's been good. I haven't missed a bill yet, a house payment yet, but it's been a challenge. Freelancing, independent artists, whatever you want to call it, is very difficult unless you're constantly opening up new doors. And I would say that I kind of wish I had a better strategy. I would say to anyone who's considering it, definitely have some money in the bank saved up. If you have a full-time job, consider storing away at least 3 to 6 months worth of pay. That would be a tremendous boost or confidence level for you if you had enough money in the bank to cover you in case you had a slow month. I'll tell you, for me, like the winter, coming off the holidays in January, February, super rough, super difficult for me this year. This was the worst one yet. So, but I love what I do. It's the most flexible situation I'm in. I also have to be better and more disciplined at saving money for those rainy days. It is very difficult, and smarter guys like Brian are better at it than me. But I'll let him tell you his secret.
So everybody, you got to back Doom Kickers, and that helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, lay it on me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the thing was not getting in. You have to look at different ways to make money and monetize things. So IDW's page rate for inking is not great, but if you're doing a book with a fan base, you can turn that into original art sales. You can sell the page, and then you can turn that into doing commissions. And then little side projects, indie projects for, because it seems like everybody at IDW has their own side project. And so you say, hey, do you want to help me with this? Blah, blah, blah. So it's like, don't get in the mindset of, oh, I'm working for such and such a company and that's where my money comes from. It's like, no, you need to it's kind of like investing. Like you don't put all your money in one thing. You've got to get different avenues for, so if one fails or one has a slow month, you can still have stuff coming in. But for me, for years, it was basically that. Just I had an eBay store up, and I would put up the GI Joe pages I inked that month, and that added to that income. And I made more money selling the pages than IDW paid me to ink, and then got commissions, and then all that did was kind of connect me with that particular fan base too. That's kind of how I made it work. And then now, because I'm in that weird transition where the Indiegogo money doesn't come in for another month or so, and I'm not getting any more. Like the last thing I did for IDW was probably 2 months ago. So it's like I'm basically living off of commissions and Friday night auctions that we do and all that. And that's kind of my interim business plan for the transition, is just that, hitting a few conventions this month. And then when the Indiegogo money hits, then I'm full bore gunship Thunder Punch. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the diversifying your income streams
Mhm.
like that. So I'm like, it'd be nice to just own a laundromat. I know that's random. Own a laundromat, and I could have a little office in the back and do my comics things and make sure the machines are running.
Everybody wants that rich uncle that passes away.
That money. Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
That would do it. What do you think, Eric? When did you start doing this full time?
About 6 months ago.
Rush.
Really, I had let me rewind time a little bit.
In fact,
about 9 years ago, my wife and I were expecting our first son, and we were both working, and we said one of us needs to stay home and raise the kid because we didn't want to pay for daycare.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to have us be with our son. And she was making a little bit more than me at the time. And I had this Flying Fortress idea. So she said, all right, you stay home. You'll be dad during the day, and then at night you can work on your comic books. And That was great, except I wasn't ready. Um, I was not ready. It was a lot of years of thinking, okay, well, if I can get the book done and do it at a show, something will catch, something will work, I'll get commissions, and that stuff did come in, but I wasn't making a living at it until Jawbreakers and Graveyard Shift happened, and that was just like, I wouldn't call it a fluke because I really went after that Graveyard Shift job, but at the time, about 6 months before that, I was like, I think I'm probably done with comics. I had started painting, and I was getting some money doing some digital painting stuff, and I thought I'd go down that route. And then I came up with that Oz idea, which will be coming up after Flying Fortress. And I had taken up enough time away from comics that it was calling me back, because it was like, well, maybe you should do this as a story. And that sort of got me in the whole got me back in the game. And John reached out on Twitter, said they were hiring a letterer, and then you guys know I'm lettering everything.
Literally everything.
Everything. It's just been it's just been insane and a huge blessing for my family. And like, we were getting to the point where it's like, all right, if this isn't going to work, then you got to go work at UPS or something. So, and me having a regular job, it makes me grumpy, and my wife doesn't like hanging around grumpy Eric. So, so it just happened. Like, everything just sort of lined up, and we were able to make those adjustments, and now I'm the letterer supreme, as people say. And along the side, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can do my own stories, because I have a ton of stories that I want to get out there.
Yeah.
And Flying Fortress, I think it's almost poetic that it's the one I'm starting with, because it's the one that almost ended me.
Wow.
So,
doesn't it feel good that you look at it now and you're what? I don't even know where. Let me refresh this and we'll see where we're at.
Okay.
You're 64.85, refreshing it 65.75.
Oh man.
Yeah. And this is day one.
We just
need
somebody to buy one of those original run cover arts, and we'll be up over $7,000.
Yeah. It's doable. Someone buy that cover.
Or
That'll
the cover, yeah.
The cover, yeah. That's a nice bump. I sold the cover. I had Matt Weldon do a variant cover, and I sold that within the first, I think it was hour 2 of my campaign. That was really fun.
Let me just say one thing. I am not Matt Weldon, and Matt Weldon is not Eric Weathers. For some reason, we get confused.
I know. I do it too. Like, I don't get it, but I've heard it's not just me, but I don't know why. I don't know what it is. You guys don't. I don't know that I've ever seen what Matt Weldon looks like.
I've seen his hairy arms, and that's about it.
Yeah, you don't paint your fingernails.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, your names don't even sound the same at all. But
I know. For some reason, we're the same person.
There.
Maybe we are.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's so cool. It gives me. I don't mean it gives a lot of people hope too. That's another thing about this hobby. Yeah, like, I don't know. I've been thinking about a lot about how do you participate in comics, because it's such a solitude that you're just reading by yourself. But a lot of people that read comics they enjoy art. They want to do art. They want to buy art. They like collecting. They like writing. They want to make their own comics. And so it's just kind of an interesting how this network I don't know, feeds off of itself. It's self-perpetuating, and it grows bigger. And I don't know. I know I'm not the only one here that would just love to make comics full time. We have about 90 people right now, and I bet you a big chunk of those people would love to follow you guys. So, Eric, how old are you? Like 34?
Oh, so close. 35.
35. Okay. Yeah. So if you can do it, man, I'm younger. That's the thing.
Earlier when you were saying, earlier when you were saying, I feel like I'm too old. I was having those self-doubts at 23. Honestly, because it was like you'd hear about, when Wizard Magazine was still around, like Joe Mad, 16, and he's working at Marvel. I'm like, man, I'm 23. My life is over. I can't do it. It's not going to happen. So it's never too late. I feel like, you know, a lot of you got to put in your 10,000 hours. You got to put in your 5 to 10 years before you make it. And I did that. And honestly, that's what Flying Fortress is. That 5 to 10 years. There were other jobs in between, different freelance things here and there, but Flying Fortress it's a part of me. And it's a part of, I mean, this isn't just my book. I don't want to just take all the credit. This was co-created by a couple of friends and I, and one of them had to peel off after issue 2 because he had twins and his life blew up, because twins will take over your life. And you know, we all had got married and had kids at the same time. And for me, it was like, I have to do this because it's important. And you know, it's taken 8 years, but it's finally paying off. Because if I didn't do Flying Fortress, I wouldn't be lettering everybody's taxes and wedding invitations and all of that.
Yeah, so. You're putting yourself out there. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. So they say.
Is that what they say?
That's what Clint says. But
they
now they are all going to say it.
They say it all the time. #biscuit. Everyone. Yeah.
For the biscuit. I like to risk it for the Triscuit because you know you might poke the top of your mouth.
Yeah. Cool. Good, be careful.
Less carbs too. I'm sure.
Yeah. Meatier, much meatier, more fiber.
Yeah. It's good for you.
Very cool. Here, let's check in. I'm gonna check in on Gunship Thunder Punch. Guys, Brian Shearer is a professional artist, and he's doing what he loves is giant robots. This looks cool. Tell us again. I'm sure we've got new people in here. I'm sure. Give us a little rundown of what we got, Brian.
All right. So Mars and Earth are at war, and they've kidnapped a woman's son, and she is going to get him back herself. And she's got to steal a outdated gunship with the help of a criminal serving a life sentence who commanded the ship about 30 years before. But the ship is self-aware and not happy about being abandoned for 30 years. So
Would you be happy?
I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
Although I do like, a little solitude now and then.
That's true.
So question, this is on Mars, right? So
it starts on Earth. I will say that.
Oh, so this is Earth? You left me to rust.
Yes, that is on Earth.
Okay. Well, I was going to say we could have a whole discussion about water on Mars, but
well, yeah. Somebody, I was in I think yesterday on a stream. There was the chat. I didn't address it, but the chat got in this big debate about whether or not things could rust in space.
Yeah,
and it's on Earth. He's in a junkyard on Earth.
No, it's all good. You need like water and oxygen, or
I
don't know how it works. Let's refresh it, guys. Don't make a fool of me. Somebody's got to get in here and back this.
They're just like, no, they were in like a back channel thing. They're like, nobody back it while he's on Speedcast.
Didn't move yet. I've noticed like with Ethan, he'll just refresh it anyway. For me, I'm always nervous, like it's gonna show that nobody listens to me. But he refreshes it, and I feel like that makes people like, oh yeah, he's gonna refresh it. I'm gonna do something about this. So 338 backers, 339 would be probably just a great person. So anybody that wants to be an amazing
best person in the chat, probably
339, that'd be great. And 340 would also be awesome. Doom Kicker.
Doom Kicker.
I gotta ask one thing too.
Yeah.
The red, that's kind of your thing, right? You did a lot of, I don't know, you did the prints and stuff with the red. I know you did the book. Was it called Black, White, and Red?
No, Black and Red.
Black and Red, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, what's I don't know, is there a story behind that, or just looks cool?
No. I mean, I couldn't say my favorite color is yellow, but I like cheeseburgers. I like McDonald's, and I like their red flag when it waves in the sun. It makes me happy. No. Before I got into I was transitioning into comics when I was leaving my day job. So I was kind of like, for a couple of years, I was kind of doing stuff, and I done a couple of things. I got involved in cards, and then I got involved. I did some work for DC Comics, and like some backup or helping out a buddy who was falling behind on some pages. So I helped him out with those. I got some more work on that book. But I was still working full time, but what I did before was I was in graphic design and doing illustrations for T-shirts for Harley Davidson and other products like that, licensed sports apparel and things like that. And I just, for me, a big part of my strategy has always been a good tight composition in my work and boldness and clarity. I'm not as good of an inker as I am a penciler. And every time I learned from inkers, they always talked about our job is to make sense of your mess. Like, oh, which is also translated as clarity. So I said, oh yeah. So then in all the language and all the books that you read about that kind of stuff, clarity is so important. And I think that red is such a powerful color. It has a lot of it's very alerting color. It's what you use for anything else. So I thought, I love when I see artwork. And then one of the actually some of the inspiration came from this book here. You ever heard of a group guys called Creature Box? If you're not,
yeah,
check them out. And this book was like, man, I love the potent saturation of red in that book, and all the best, like my favorite characters are red. Robin wears red. Flash, Shazam, also used to be called Captain Marvel, which I still call him that. Superman, I just love red, man. I love Mighty Mouse wore red. Everything I love was red. And I was like, you know what? I want to try something where I can incorporate that as and the reason why they incorporated it, by the way, is because it's a powerful color and it advertises well. And in our culture, for whatever reason, that color speaks to everything from automobile manufacturing to superheroes, science fiction, all sorts of stuff. I remember the weirdest guys only people I cared about in that movie, Black Hole from Disney, were those that red robot thing, right?
Maximilian.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's those red guys, and I always thought the red guys, the Crimson Guard, were always cool, and I always thought that the Emperor's red guy,
the Royal Guards,
yeah, cool. So anyway, it just was it's just something I played on. I saw happening in the marketplace, and I thought, I wonder if I can create something where I don't want to put a lot of color. I like the idea of color, but I'm really big on like poster design and logo design and graphic illustration. And I like this idea of just doing a silhouetted image. Like my first one was the Joker. I did a Joker holding a scrap of Robin's costume. And I worked all in the face. I did all the detail on the hands and the cloth. I left his jacket empty, just a white fill. And then I put him into the rectangle, but I filled it all with black, and I only colored the red on Robin's costume and the blood splatter on the Joker's face. Man, it went crazy on Instagram. And I was like, oh my god, that's so amazing. And I was like, yeah, I love it. They love it, and I love it. And that was like kind of my response, because everybody else is doing the hyper coloring and ultra shading, and and I just like good old fashioned old school comics when they were just more plain and more bold.
There's something to be said for zigging when others are zagging too. Yeah.
And some of my favorite books, like you look at Hellboy, was constructed that way. If you look at Sin City, very bold.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of all came together. I think, and there was one more thing I thought that happened. It was like all these little things that I was attracted to, because I was like, what's my thing? So I started doing that, and that became my language for my private work and commission work. I always get black and reds, and that gave me a chance to kind of showcase my illustration skills and design skills. And it's the small things, nothing major, just a little splash of color, everybody gets happy. So when I got to Doom Kicker, it wasn't even a plan. I see the whole world as this very urgent space that this character is, and Hank is in this really crazy time in his life, and red was the right color. He's wearing blue against all that red.
Yeah.
And if you look at that one moment we were identifying earlier, when he's with his wife Gina, that
way
moment
down.
very, very calm and cool.
Oh
but,
yeah.
but a little dingy and dirty. You know, that the whole world's supposed to be dirty and dingy. But that red, I want it to be like wah, wah, alert, alert, alert.
Yeah.
And so that's a little the thinking I have behind that color in the book. But it was inspired by all those other things I just talked about, which really took forever to say. Sorry about that, guys.
No, yeah. When I look at red and black now, and I see that, I don't know. I just feel like it's a hallmark. Again, that's part of your personal branding.
Yeah.
At least it's working. It works on me. I'm gonna reflect. I'm gonna refresh this, and we're gonna see.
Oh god.
348 backers, 349 backers. Yay!
Woo!
Congratulations, Elliot.
I rejoice. Your success is my rejoicing.
Oh, was I not sharing my screen?
You're blank.
That's your icon on the video.
Something's going wrong. I was looking through your campaign to show it off to everybody and refresh it, and here I'm just doing it for my own amusement.
Yeah,
that's good YouTube.
Yeah, real professional here. Yeah, well, trust me, everybody. I refreshed it and it was awesome. You missed it.
I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah, I don't know when my camera's not working either. I've got a problem.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
My camera?
The little icon where you can turn off your camera up top.
Yeah, I did that like 3 or 4 times.
Oh.
It's
unplug it and plug it back in.
Something's wrong.
Did you turn the computer on?
We follow the cord. Oh, it's not plugged in. That was the problem. No, I'm just teasing. No, I really don't know what went wrong.
You know, I used to work tech support at Cox Communications, which is it's like Comcast for the Midwest. There were plenty of times where it was like people would call in with just computer problems, and we're not supposed to take those calls. Like, I can't hear the video's not playing any music. You know, I'm like, because they think it's the internet because they're watching YouTube, and it's like, ma'am, have you do you notice that little icon there? Is that, you got to check to see if it's on mute. Like, no, that's good. And like, you see a knob? Do you have speakers anywhere? What would those look like? Like you gotta be gentle. You're like, well, they're maybe small little rectangles, and normally that's where the sound comes out. There should be a little knob on the side. So what I'm trying to get at is, Clint, just look for the little knob on the side.
Turn the knob.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I tried. Oh, now it's opening. It's just something. My computer's now opening Lightroom.
Yeah.
By itself. I'm not even joking.
Skynet is taking over.
I'm waiting. Oh man.
Doom is coming and must be kicked, or Thunder Punch,
or Fortress,
or
flying, flown at,
bombed.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
They got bombs.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, Boomer stream. I don't know what's going on.
That's because we're here.
No, this is like every other time. Eric knows. He's a regular on my stream.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah.
That must be my cologne, Essence of Doug.
Is that what that smell is?
What it smells like.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Here's a question, Brian. I want to hear from you first.
Oh,
put you on the spot. The future of comics. Do you think that crowdfunding is going to be sustainable long term? You're going to just keep doing one every year. What do you think?
I mean, if Indiegogo and Kickstarter don't go out of business, then I don't know why it wouldn't. Of course, you never know what's going to come, what new tech thing is going to show up and then displace everything else. But if things remain somewhat, the thing, indie comics have really gravitated towards Indiegogo, right?
Yeah.
Not Kickstarter.
Well, they were there for a while,
and they're there. Yeah, you're right. They were there for a while, but it seems like this current iteration is really gravitated towards Indiegogo. And so I don't. I think that it's really in a growth period. I think eventually things will shift again. They have to. They always do.
Yeah.
What that'll look like, who knows? But I would guess if I had to make a prediction that we're in for a good run of crowdfunding, successful crowdfunding in independent books.
Yeah. I gotta wonder if publishers are worried, because you think about it, if they leave, if all the Ryan Stegmans, because there's so many of them, if they just leave Marvel or DC and they're just doing their own thing and doing better, and they have more control of what they want to do and all that kind of stuff, publishers need to find a way to be relevant. You know, like what else are they offering? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Again, like I think maybe that was Brian, maybe that was you that was saying, like, unless you're working for the big two, all the other publishers really don't. They're not paying you a lot. They're not offering much. And I've talked to a couple different publishers about Downcast, and it's like you're weighing all that in, you know, like I can ship a book out. Like what can you do for me? You know, like
yeah, and I guarantee you, even I mean, obviously monetarily you'll do better on your own with a successful Indiegogo, but even reader numbers, you know, you might at an indie level, your first issue might get, you know, 1,200, 1,500 orders, and then that's going to be cut in half every single time. And it's because, you know, the system is broken. It's like the shops have to order the third issue before they see how the first issue sold, and you can never order more than that first issue, because they're not going to order, you know, 3,000 copies of issue 3 when they only ordered 1,000 of issue 1. So even reader wise, you're going to hit at least where you would have been going traditional, if not more.
Yeah. Well, so like right now I have over 800 backers on my book, and then sold over 1,300 copies, because some people have bought multiples, you know.
Yeah. So like that's about what, like when I did William the Last, and I'm still doing it through Antarctic, and that, you know, it was the best selling book for #1 that month, and it was about that number. And then of course it got, you know, it gets cut in half. And so it's like, you know, at this point, everybody, if you look at it, you're like, I can do those numbers, you know, on Indiegogo, and it be viable for financially. And I think more people are more likely to come back a second time, because, you know, you're going to the customer instead of going to the store or the distributor.
Yeah.
And so if you get, so there's not that middleman deciding to cut it in half. Now with crowdfunding, if 13 people come in, 13 people or more may come in the second time.
Yeah. I think that, and I know that like Mike has shown this, that the second issue does better, you know, and I think that's unique. You know, obviously there are books out there that sell really well, but for our situation right now, I think that when people are looking at your track record, did they put out a product that I enjoyed? Did it come in a timely manner? Okay, I want the next one. And it may not even have to be the same storyline. I mean, I'll find out in a few months, but you know, we're building on that. And I think, you know, that diamond model of, you got to have pre-orders for the third issue before the first one's hit. You're right. It's a different beast, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's dying.
Yeah. Rodwell Stevens says Sweetcast left his computer to rust, and now it's fighting him back. Yeah.
You left to rust.
It's a zombie. It's not a zombie. It's a zombie. I just remember reading that in there. Let's see. We have Sweetcast, try restarting your computer. If I restart my computer, the stream's going to get a little weird. It'll like the Doug show, as he said.
That's pretty much what that'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been on his show, and then he's just dropped out, and suddenly his channel is mine.
It's all mine.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes he comes back, and sometimes,
Yeah.
that was the last you saw of him.
He's just done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that like 2 or 3 times. I desperately need a new computer. It's on its last leg. You can hear it. You can't hear it, but I can hear it. Yeah, it sounds like something's really wrong.
Yeah, extra fan sounds.
Yeah, it's like a helicopter taking off.
Yeah.
Dust it out.
Bust it out.
Just get a can of air and dust it out.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some, I don't know what it is. It might be because, so I built it with my brother,
Mhm.
and so I kind of have to
Oh,
take
man.
responsibility.
That's how you do it. You got to build your own.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper, and you can get better parts and stuff if you do it that way.
Yeah, but you're on the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been building my own system since I was like 17. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been working for, I think this is year 4.
That's pretty
So
good.
yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Clean your fans, says Sierra Whiskey. Yeah, I've cleaned the fans.
Yeah.
Here's a question, guys. What do you think about the name Coma Monk
Koba Monk.
for a comic?
I
You
personally
got-
think it's the greatest title of a comic ever.
I think I would buy it.
Okay. All right. It's settled then. That's easy. No, I had a different name for Downcast first, and then I had my subscribers vote on it, and they came up with the name Downcast, and it was so good that yeah, I abandoned the last one, dropped it like it was hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Okay.
Yeah.
I like
So-
Downcast. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It worked really well. It worked for marketing too, because Sweetcast, Downcast, that everybody makes that connection. It's memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, so I'm working on drawing. We're changing the subjects a little bit here.
Let's talk about you.
practicing. Yeah, well, that's what we're here for, aren't we? Yeah. I'm totally joking. Yeah, I've been working on drawing and getting better, and I know some of my subscribers are working on it with me and trying to improve. What advice do you guys have? How do I improve quickly with drawing?
You don't. You just practice.
I won't improve. Okay.
No,
All right.
no. You
It
don't.
doesn't
Oh,
have to be
quickly.
Not quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come
I mean,
on.
quick is relative, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just practice. I was listening to a podcast today, and you know the legend of Robert Johnson.
No.
Anybody?
It sounds like a joke.
No.
So
I know
Robert
the
Johnson,
name.
the blues musician
I think I've heard. But go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
who sold his soul to the devil so he could play
I
guitar.
was gonna say
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was listening to a podcast today, and it turns out that's all myth. That it didn't happen. Actually, it was somebody that had a similar name as Tommy Johnson who took credit for that happening. But Robert Johnson's grandson said no. He just practiced and he got really good and became the basis for blues music. So, I mean, ultimately, it's just draw, dude. Just draw. I'm sure
Well-
Elliot or Brian probably have better advice than that, but
That's
That's mine.
just it's like the wax on, wax off.
that's right.
There's no.
I tell you what helped me out.
Okay.
This is you put yourself in the position that you owe somebody something.
Mm.
I got involved in doing. It's not that different from what you said either, Eric. I got involved in doing cards for sketch cards for some of these companies, and they paid terrible.
Yeah, I was there.
Terrible. And I took on one time. I was so anxious for this. I was like, I got to do more. So I took on like 125 cards, and I kept saying, "Oh man, I'll get to that," but I kept procrastinating. Finally, it was getting closer, and I was like, "Man, I got to get a lot of these done in a short amount of time." And I'm not saying it was pretty, but the act, to Eric's point, the act of doing that and doing a lot of it in a short amount of time forced me to make choices that I wouldn't have made had I made those choices like, oh well, I got plenty of time to do it. Like there's something about a pressure cooker that gives you a little more makes you think a little differently.
Yeah.
Right, I got to get this done this much time. Okay, what can I possibly do? And when you think you have a lot of time, you start thinking about all kinds of elaborate ways you can draw something, and I'll look at this now. Sometimes I just got to throw it down, and those happy accidents that occur So now you're forcing accidents to happen. What a friend of mine said, I'd rather fail, but I'm not going to lose.
I
So,
like that.
you can learn from your failures, but get better. But if you just back off and lose, it's over. So he said, so I did that, and I'll tell you, in that one short amount of time, it was like a 2 or 3 week period when I was trying to catch up to all that work. I may have done like 20 of them, and I just jammed on it, and I felt like that was my first quantum leap in my work, because it forced me to make a bunch of mistakes that I had to find solutions for faster. And then ever since then, I'm like, well, if I mess up, that's all right. I'll just keep cranking. It also taught me to be patient with myself. You'll learn as you go along what you need to do.
Yeah. I read a blog post. There's an illustration blog I read, and one of the articles this week was it's talking about the golden age comic book artists, and it was looking at 'cause some of them were very crudely drawn, and the reason was because these guys they were just cranking out. These companies are cranking out so many comic books in a short amount of time, and these guys had to bust their tail just to make a living because the page rate was so low. And there was a interview, I guess, with one of the old artists, and they're talking about just the process of how they got better. The artists that stuck around a long time, and they're like, you didn't really know much about drawing when you came in, and you just drew and drew and drew, and it was horrible, 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 and all of a sudden you'd make this leap, and then nothing. You'd just be at the same place forever, and you just keep drawing and drawing and drawing, and all of a sudden you'd make another leap. And then you'd get stuck there for a long time. And the thing was, it's like you're learning, but it doesn't really, it requires that constant practice and doing and feeling. You're not really stagnating. I mean, your mind and your brain, they're working these things out, but it just takes time. And then all of a sudden it clicks all at once, and you make this leap. And then for the next, however long, you just feel like, when's the next one going to come? I suck. It's just not happening. But if you stick with it, you keep having to stick with it till you get that next jump.
Yeah. I remember hearing, I believe it was Bernie Wrightson say something very similar, where he would get in, he would reach a sort of a plateau and then feel like, I'm not getting any better. And then you start looking down on your art, and then you think, this isn't as good as it used to be. And then, like Brian said, you hit that jump. And he said, what he realized was, in his mind's eye, was already ahead in his progression. So in his mind, he was like, I know I'm better. It's just, it took a while for the muscle, it took a while for that practice to catch up. And then when it catches up, that's when it clicks. And then that carries you through the next one, and then it happens again. And then each time you're going a little bit higher and a little bit higher. But all of this, Clint, what you're doing right now, put it online, do that. Show people. You gotta put it out there for people to say, you know what, I don't like the way you draw feet. I don't like the way you draw hands.
Trust me, neither do I.
Yeah. So, you do want to, don't just do it in a vacuum. When I started out, it was in forums like Pencil Jack and all of that, and you'd get all that feedback, and some of it was great. And some people would write 6 paragraphs breaking you down. And those forums are still there. You could still join them there. But now, now you've got this community here. You've got a lot of people that will be honest with you. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've been posting things on Twitter. I've been doing lots of just rough sketch stuff, trying to do, just rough stuff to get mileage. And then I'm trying to do some finished pieces and stuff. I wanted to show you one so you guys could roast it. But my camera's not working. So.
How convenient.
Yeah.
Sure it did.
Can I tell you something else I did when I left my day job, my old job? I hardly ever bought sketchbooks. I was always drawing on scrap work, and I would get I'd see messed up printouts, oh, they just put it to the side for recycling. I'd grab them and I'd draw all over them all the time. I did that for almost 20 years. By the time I left that place, I had a stack that was 2.5 feet tall of just hands and arms and heads. All I would do.
Yeah.
And I saw someone mention in the chat that the problem with drawing practice is that you can be practicing the wrong thing. That's true. The goal is not just to draw and draw over again. is to always be looking at something and trying to improve it,
Mm-hmm.
try drawing it a different way. Don't get used to drawing it the way you don't like. It really, there is an art to studying.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of people take for granted, is how you look at something, and then what also helped me was deconstructing illustrations. Taking a tracing paper over a favorite illustration, if it's a comic book illustration or whatever, and just start tracing it and trying to learn from the act of tracing, learning about what does it take, what did this artist think about to get it to this step. And you'd be surprised how much you can learn from that as well. But that's just one way.
Yeah. So what I want to do is over the summer, I'm going to be just preparing a portfolio. I know like other people have said they're going to be doing this with me, so we'll see. But I want to prepare a portfolio just for the sake of doing it. I want to learn. I am primarily a writer. I've written for years, and I'm going to be continue to be a writer. But yeah, I'm like, I want to improve my drawing. So yeah, I'm going to prepare a portfolio. And would you guys mind when the time comes, you could do a portfolio review and roast it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I did your lettering.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Eric roasted some lettering I did. It was bad.
I thought it was fun.
Fun. Oh yeah. No, the roasting itself was great.
Yeah.
The lettering was bad.
By the way, he asked me to do it. Everybody, just
Yeah. No, guys, I have I don't know. It's one of those things. You guys all know. If you're putting yourself out there, you got to have thick skin. So yeah. Even just having a YouTube channel that people want, the comment section, it'll make it better. All right, I'm trying to share my screen, and literally I cannot even share my screen. I click on it.
Do you have a way to send it to me and I can share my screen?
Yeah, I'll lock a screen on you.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to refresh all of these. So everybody, this is, if you're on the fence, we just heard these guys talking about practice. This is years of experience. This is the culmination. These are great, or seriously, all three of these projects are top tier. So if you want to get in, now's a great time so we can refresh it and applaud, and we'll all have fun together. So Eric's going to show us.
I will show you. You want all the campaigns, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gonna refresh them.
Yes. I just gotta make sure I have everything up here real quick.
I have a little story I can share with you too that helped me a lot. If you want, while you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
It may help people in the chat. Years and years ago, about 20 years ago. So, I was bringing portfolios to conventions, and I would show my work, and everyone always said I had a lot of promise, but there was just a couple of things off, and you just keep working on that kid. And I remember I took it to I showed it to Dick Giordano, and he gave me a very positive thing, but I chickened out years ago. The early part of my comics career was very lonely because I was always doing stupid things. Well, but the one time I thought I was going to make that jump, I had gone to a MegaCon here in Orlando, or in the Orlando area close by my town, and it was like back then Marvel and DC would still do that show, and they would have editors. And I remember there was the editor for Justice League at the time was there, and I showed my portfolio to him. Now, all my friends are always supportive of me, but it's one of those things like, all my friends will tell me I'm good, but I need to hear the real important stuff. And at this point, I had been working in a professional capacity long enough that I knew that if I was going to improve, I needed to be critiqued, and I need to hear the truth.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I tell people all the time, you're not doing us any favors if you're buying it just because you think I'm a cool guy. I really need you to tell me, is it good? That's super important. That's the most important thing we can hear from you guys is it a quality book, right? And if it's not, I want to make it better. Well, anyway, I remember I showed it to the editor. I remember his name, but that's not important now. That was 20 years ago. I showed him the work, and every time he could tell he was cranky. He had seen a bunch of portfolios, and he said, "I do this. All right. You got this problem." And every time he told me that, I said, "Okay, well, how can I make it better? How can I make it better?" And it was that capacity, like that's what I hear you saying. You're willing to be flexible to hear the information so you can improve it. Man, I'll tell you what, he gave me his card and I almost had that job and I chickened out. But I almost had that job because I was flexible and willing to grow and willing to change.
Yeah.
I
like that. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Definitely. Yeah. I want to get feedback. Yeah. And I will say for people watching too, if you're participating, I was calling it the Michael Turner Challenge, but I had a lot of people telling me maybe don't call it that. It's supposed to be a nice thing, but whatever. We're improving our drawing over the summer. If you're interested in that, put together a portfolio with me, and yeah, it'll be fun. Okay, so we're looking at Gunship Thunder Punch first.
Looking at Gunship Thunder Punch. Well, you're at 19, Brian. And
get that.
I mean, yeah, let's go. I mean, I opened these new. I didn't have Clint's old links, so 340 backers, 19.
Yeah.
43. Hey, 1943 is where Flying Fortress takes place.
Yeah. Wow.
What?
Is
I think Paranormals need to take a look at this one.
This is this has the supernatural written all over it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of Flying Fortress,
338 and 330 or 339 and 340 are just great people, right?
Yeah, they are. They are top-notch people. Now, I don't remember what numbers we were at earlier because they change because people are so nice and they back our books and they're wonderful people. But Flying Fortress is 6,650 with 138 backers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
refresh.
Another
9 backers.
There.
All right. Yeah, Flying Fortress. Back it today. Or like the old 1940s ads, they weren't as aggressive. They were like, pick it up at your local store tomorrow.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at Doom Kicker. 349 backers, 23,610. Shall we refresh it?
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Drum roll, please.
349 backers, 23,610. Still
doing good.
Doing great.
This is just ripe for a 350th backer. I mean, that's a nice round number.
Yeah, you want to have that on your resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty important.
Yeah.
You put that on your resume and you'll get the job.
You'll get the job, and not just the job that you applied for, but like the highest paid one above it, actually.
You're going to make lots of people in that company really mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snap.
Then they're going to put a hit out on you, and it's going to get really, really weird really quick.
But, that's on you.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I think, guys, it's almost 10 here. It's probably even later for all. I think I'm farthest west out of all of you. So,
yeah.
Hey, really appreciate all of you guys coming on. Great conversation. Good, really great advice. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on all your books. You guys are raising the bar.
Thank you.
For comics. Yeah, and I guess 90 people watching. It's so great. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for the super chats. And thanks for leaving a like on your way out, too. That's really helpful. And subscribe. And subscribe to all these guys as well. Every single one of you have a YouTube channel. Why don't we start left to right? Brian?
Yeah. YouTube.com/Brian Shearer. That's where you can find me.
Do it. Okay, then we have Eric.
Do it. Yeah, youtube.com/Eric Weathers.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it. And that video's on there. You can spread that to your friends when they feel like there's something they can't do. When Clint's feeling down, saying, I don't know if I should draw. I don't know if I can draw today. I'll send him my do it clip. And that motivates people. It gets them in the rear end, gets them going.
Get out about it.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Just play it.
And then Elliot.
Oh yeah. You can find me on the YouTubes under Jerkmonger. I think it's youtube.com/Jerkmonger. Yes. Yes, it
Very
is.
cool. Yeah, everybody support indie comics creators, especially for these campaigns. You're gonna run out of time. I know you want to back them, and you think I'll do it tomorrow. It's fine. You got to do it. You're gonna miss out because you're waiting too long. So it's a great time to do it. Thanks everybody. Really, really appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye everybody.